I wanted to tell you guys some of the details around what happened at Leinster House last Friday evening. I'll show you a video of my arrest and I'll tell you about getting the head kicked off me by 4 or 5 Gardaí in a cell at a Garda station. I won't go too much into my injuries because I want the Gardaí to tell their lies first and I don't want this video to get taken down. Anyway, I think you can see the stitches on my face. I was walking around towards Leinster House last Friday. I saw the gates of Leinster House wide open and there was no one around. The place looked completely abandoned. I saw a stop sign a few feet inside the gate. It was on a big wide bollard coming up out of the ground, and that was the only sign I could see. I decided to investigate up as far as that sign and stop there like the sign said. I'm a country fella, so when I see open gates out the country, we investigate what's going on in case the animals might get out. It wouldn't do to have the animals that done this to our nation getting out of Leinster House, would it? I got as far as the stop sign and I couldn't see anyone for a moment, so I waited. 2 men approached from either side of the stop sign, but they didn't come out past the stop sign. I was relieved at least that the place wasn't abandoned. I decided I would get a selfie perched on the sign. I felt it was the least I deserved after looking after Leinster House on my own, even if it was only for a few moments. The 2 men pushed me off the sign, or barrier, or whatever some people are calling it. Then the 2 men pushed, pulled and dragged me out onto the street. Here, let me show you a video of it. So in this video, you'll see that I am not resisting arrest and that I am actually gone limp. Except for at one point when one of the men tells me that there is a bus coming. I thought he meant that there was a bus driving in the gate of Leinster House. And I would have gotten up and cooperated with him. But what he actually meant was there was a Dublin bus coming up the street and that he wanted me to move in off the street a bit so the 2 of us didn't get run over. So he rolled me over and I cooperated with that. And we got in off the street and the bus went up the road. You can see in the video that my neck is relaxed, that my head is resting on the ground, and you can see that my left arm is free and relaxed. You can see that we are all pretty relaxed. And certainly none of the brutality you have witnessed recently from the Gardaí is happening. You can also see that my face is not bleeding, or it's not hurt in any way. So, after that less than controversial video, the Gardaí arrived and they put handcuffs on me and they put me in the back of the van and they took me to Pearse Street Garda station. There is a camera in the back of the van, so that camera will show that I was relaxed and not resisting arrest. I was brought to Pearse Street Garda station and that's where things started to get nasty. The Garda who was searching me was very rude and nasty. I asked him why he was being so nasty. He called me a piece of shit and started pushing me and shoving me and ripping my possessions out of my pocket like he was trying to hurt me or provoke me. I told him he was behaving like a Nazi, working for the Masons in Leinster House. 2 Gardaí grabbed me under my arms as I was still in handcuffs. They dragged me down to the cells down a narrow corridor. I could hear more Gardaí coming down the corridor behind us, and I remember thinking, why does it take so many people to put a fella in a cell? They got me into the cell and they threw me down on the ground. Then 4 or 5 Gardaí started booting and kicking me in the head, chest, body, back and legs, over and over again. I couldn't defend myself. I was in handcuffs. There was another couple of Gardaí standing in the doorway, watching these animals kicking me over and over again on the ground in handcuffs. You can see the stitches on my face. My mouth was pumping blood. My nose was bleeding. I could taste the blood in my mouth, and I could feel the blood running down my face. I never screamed or shouted, because that might put this bunch of masochists into a frenzy. They were behaving like a pack of hyenas, and I felt that screaming in pain would only gratify them. Eventually, they stopped kicking me, and they took the handcuffs off, and they left the cell, jeering at me as they were leaving. It was like they were congratulating each other on a job well done, kicking the head off me. Later on, another Garda came to check on me in the cell. I was sitting on the edge of the bunk with my head in my hands, watching the blood drip from my face down onto the floor. The Garda opened the hatch, and I looked up at him, and he went, "Jesus Christ!" And he ran off, and I could hear him shouting, "I need a doctor, get a doctor, quick, get a doctor." A couple of minutes passed, and I could hear people hurrying down the corridor. A couple of Gardaí entered the cell with the doctor, and the doctor said, "Get him to hospital." One of the Gardaí said, "Shit." It was as though he was disappointed that the doctor had told them to take me to the hospital. I was barely able to walk, but I managed to limp doubled over out to the back of the van, and they took me to St. James's Hospital. I spent 6 or 8 hours in the hospital. The doctor stitched up my face and ordered x-rays and a CAT scan for me. I was in terrible pain, and my body, head and neck were covered in scrapes, and there was blood coming out of both of my ears and my mouth. I went to court the next day, and that's when the cover-up started. They lied to the judge, and they said that I assaulted one of the Garda. The cameras will show I was non-violent, and I actually went limp, which is the exact opposite of aggressive. So, watch now. For my next trick, I will make a whole bunch of camera evidence from the Garda station disappear. Because that's what happens. When the evidence doesn't match the lies, the evidence disappears, not the lies. Anyway, today is the first day I could talk properly since they kicked the head off me in the Garda station. I wanted to come on here and thank all of you for the wonderful support and well wishes. It means a whole lot when you're lying in bed recovering to get so many messages of support. I also wanted to make an observation about the online reaction to all of this. I'm very impressed by the reactions from both the left and the right. I didn't get any of the usual slander and name calling. Even the trolls were very quiet. I think you guys have displayed a great deal of maturity by waiting to hear more before making judgments. And I think that this is going to have an impact, that there was no major troll reaction to these articles in the newspaper, which lied about me. They repeated the Garda lies, basically. I didn't see any court reporters in the courtroom that day, so I don't know where they got their information. But sure, anyway, we know how they work. And I'm so glad you guys are beginning to see that you don't react to the press anymore. They're a bunch of liars, is what they are. So I want to wish you all so much good wishes for St. Patrick's Day. I can't be there for obvious reasons. I'm hobbled, but I will be there in spirit. They have hurt my body, and they have scarred my face for life. But in years to come, when people ask me where I got the scar, I will be able to tell them that when the treacherous Irish government condemned so many Irish people to death by suicide, when they condemned so many thousands to death by failing to diagnose or treat serious illness, when they genocided thousands of our elderly and vulnerable in care homes, I will be able to say that I done everything I could. I will be able to say that I pushed as hard as I could. I had my liberty taken away, and I had my body bloodied and broken, and I still kept going. They're going to lie to you about you on St. Patrick's Day. They're going to set you up. They're going to provoke you. And they're going to try to use the arrest procedure to hurt you physically. Take it. Take it and get back up and keep going. Keep going for the Irish nation. The only excuse an Irishman has to not fight for our nation is that he is dead. And it would be better that it was that fight that killed him. Tá orlá ag teacht. Éireann go brá.